And we are live back again with another Motion.io product update live stream. Hello, everybody. My name is Sam Chlebowski, one of the co-founders here at Motion.io. And today we're going to be going through everything that's new in Motion.io over the past week. This week was a really big week for us and our team. Ton of new updates, features, functionality that I'm really excited to show off to you all. Excited to dive in here. So with that, you may notice that this week, typically I'm wearing my Motion.io gear, whether it's a sweatshirt, t-shirt, whatever. This Friday, doing something a little bit different. My alma mater kicks off today, college football. So wearing my University of Colorado shirt today, where I went to school, 10 minutes down the road. Our office is out here in Louisville, Colorado, but Boulder, where the University of Colorado is, right down the road, like 25 minutes. So thought it'd be fun just to commemorate the start of college football season, at least for my Buffaloes here. And then the rest of teams kick off this weekend. So with that, really excited to show you all of the new updates, the new features today. There's a lot to get through, so I'm going to keep things moving here. That said, if you have questions as we go through, please stop, interrupt me, ask a comment, ask a question. I will answer everything live here today. And I always leave time for questions if we have to run over a little bit. No worries here. I'm hanging out for an hour plus with you all, ready to talk, ready to answer your questions. To kick things off here, would love to know, are you watching college football this weekend? Where'd you go to school? What team is playing? Let me know. Would love to hear from you in the chat, whether you're tuning in on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube. Any of the comments that you send in, I will get here and I will be able to respond to those in real time. So don't be shy. I'll put in a chat here just to get things kicked off. I'll say hi, everyone. And with that, I would love to dive right on in here. But like I said, don't be shy. I would love to hear from you. Want to know your questions, and I will be answering everything sent in live here today. So with that, let's take a look and let's jump in to Motion.io's changelog. Especially for these big releases, I like to just take a look, talk briefly about what you're going to be seeing today. So if you have questions, if there's a feature that stands out to you that you'd like me to cover first, just let me know. And I'll go ahead and get my screen share up here. All right, and there we go. So this week, honestly, one of the biggest updates that I think we've ever put out in terms of just like the sheer number of new features here. And sorry, I can't find the specific view that I want here. There we go. I like the circle. So I'm going to scroll down here to the week of August 27th. Everything that you see here was released this past Wednesday. It's now available in Motion.io, officially live for all users. First up, what we're going to be talking about today is the calendar view for tasks. So this is something that we've had requests about for a while now, but we finally said, hey, it is time to build this. We know people really want it. We had a ton of different users write in, make a really good case for saying, hey, a calendar view is really helpful for my team, knowing what they're responsible for that day, helping them see what is coming up, just so they can, prioritize work more effectively. Well, the list view works, it's okay. It would be really nice in some circumstances to see a calendar view of tasks. So we built it, and it is now live in Motion.io. I'll be showing you that in a second. Right underneath that is our new AI stage builder. So we've had a AI task builder, an AI template builder in Motion.io for a little while now. But what we wanted to do with the AI stage builder, and the reason why it's now a part of Motion.io, is our team, as we were building out projects and templates and helping our own users, because the AI tools that are available in Motion.io for you all are things that our team internally is using all of the time. And one of the things we kept noticing was, hey, it would be really nice if we could just create a stage in a project on the fly, instead of having to think about the entirety of a project and writing one big long prompt. You can kind of chunk it out and do things in sort of smaller steps, or maybe you're just getting up and running with Motion.io. You want to build just one stage quickly into a project. So that is now possible in Motion.io in both projects and templates with our AI stage builder. Right below that is our new custom signing order for contracts. Previously in Motion.io, you always had to have the client sign a contract first, but we have now done away with that and given you the ability to set up a custom signing order. So you can have team members sign first, or you can still have clients sign first, and you can reorder the signing order for contracts based on your flow, based on the way that you want to structure things and do things in the platform. This is another feature that was heavily requested from our users, and we're excited to make it available for you. After that, I'm going to be talking today about our new Zapier trigger for client requests. If you're new to our client request feature, basically what it allows you to do is embed a form inside a tab of your portal for things like help desk tickets or support tickets. As a side note, I also released a really great YouTube video on our client requests functionality, which I will plug into the chat here in a little bit. But what we have now is a Zapier trigger for client requests. So if one of those forms you embed in a portal tab is submitted, you can use that to trigger another Zapier workflow. This is really useful for things like creating a new project once a client submits a request. But there's a couple of other more use cases. I'll show you those here in just a little bit. And then finally, under our list of features here is the ability to share project progress tracker updates. So we've made it possible now to quickly click a button and copy the status of a specific project's tracker. So it'll display the stages, the tasks, and whether or not they're completed or not, so that you can quickly send those maybe in an email to another team member or manager that needs updated. Maybe you even want to put that in something like a slide deck. This is a really cool functionality. Again, something heavily requested from our users that we're excited to be able to offer now. A couple of things under our bug fixes and improvements that I also want to cover is we now give you the ability to rename the uncategorized stage in Motion.io. If you don't know what this stage is, I'll be explaining it in a little bit. But essentially, if you would create a task without creating a stage or without assigning that task to a stage, it gets grouped in the uncategorized stage by default. Previously, you couldn't rename that, you couldn't move it around, and we've now given you a lot more flexibility within that stage. So I will be showing that off here today as well. So with that, let's jump back out of the changelog here and into talking about the first feature here. And that is going to be the calendar view for tasks. So to show this feature off, I'm going to pop into my Motion.io account here. Just go ahead and reshare. Okay. And here's my account. Okay. So with the calendar view for tasks, the way that you're going to be able to access this now when you go into Motion.io is all you got to do is go to this tasks tab here. This is a area of Motion.io that's existed for a little while. By default, when you click into the tasks tab, it's going to default to your tasks, but there's all of these different filters that you can use to sort by. Things like recent comments, overdue tasks, even choosing between client and team tasks or specific team members, as well as the status of tasks and their due date. What we've added and I'm going to clear these filters out here. What we've added now is the ability to click from the list view into the calendar view. And you'll notice when you click into this, it's going to show all of your various tasks within a calendar layout. So as I had mentioned a little bit ago, super duper useful for seeing things and seeing all of your tasks across all projects when they're due and helping you prioritize work effectively. What I typically would recommend is if you're trying to just prioritize things in your project, you can sort by draft and overdue if you would like, which will show you overdue tasks are going to be highlighted in red. Active tasks are going to be highlighted in gray here. And with that, you have a number of different options. The same way that you can use these filters in the list view. So let's say I want to look at only active tasks assigned to me. I can do so by selecting myself here and then selecting the active status, or I can just go to active tasks, which is the default view. And I can see everything that I have to do over the course of a month. So a really useful feature in terms of prioritizing things. And I do see that we have a question that just came in from Lauren Hammonds. Lauren, thank you so much for writing in. Lauren asks, will this calendar view be available next to the list and board views in the project tasks too? So at the moment, we don't have any plans to add this to projects. That said, it's a pretty good idea. And I will log a feature request there. What we've been initially thinking about this, and tell me if I'm wrong here, like the way that you would like to use this, what we kind of think for the projects view and what Lauren is referring to here, everyone, is you're able to toggle between list and board, but we don't have a calendar view option. The reason why this is just included in the task page right now, the calendar view that is these are going to show tasks across every single project you are working on. And within individual projects, typically there's going to be a lot less tasks that are assigned, things you want to filter between. But we're certainly open to adding the calendar view to this. It's not on the roadmap right now, but I will be sure to log a feature request for you for that, because I can see how that would make sense, especially if you were working on maybe a long months or a project for a client that's multiple months long with tons of different tasks. It could be super helpful to see that in a calendar view. So we'll make sure to log that for you. But at the moment, this is just available in the tasks view here, which gives you the ability to sort by all tasks across all of your Motion.io projects. Also, Bay Property Management Group writes in, hi from Baltimore. Hey there. Great to have you with us here, and happy Friday. Baltimore, by the way, I am not from Baltimore, but I used to live, and where I grew up was central Pennsylvania before moving to out here to Colorado. And we used to go, it was actually 2 different times we'd go to field trips down to Baltimore to go to the Inner Harbor. So am familiar with the Baltimore area. And then, of course, my family are all big Steelers fans, so the Ravens were always a big rival for us. But great to have you with us here, Bay Property Management Group. So with that, that really does it for the calendar view. I would love to know, before we move on, any other questions about this, anything you would like me to show you with this calendar view, please write in, let me know. I'm happy to answer any questions about this before jumping in to our next feature on the list, but of course we can jump back into this later if you'd like to see more. So with that, let's go ahead and talk about the next feature on our list, which is going to be our new AI stage builder. So this AI stage builder is really cool, really provides a lot of functionality to update projects and change things kind of on the fly. A common thing that we see, especially for our newer users of Motion.io, is they create their first project template, maybe launch their first project with a client, and they say, oh, there's this other thing that I've always wanted to do with clients that I thought could help streamline the process, but I forgot to add it to my initial template. So let me show you an example of how you can now do that and make those updates to your template using the AI Stage Builder. I'll pop back in here to my Motion.io account, and I'm going to navigate to my templates tab here. And I have a template here, this marketing services template, kind of just a general template. You'll see I have most of the tasks and stages built out already, kind of general things like onboarding tasks, granting our company account access to things like Meta, Google, etc., and then an initial audit. Let's say, though, I wanted to add a stage here, and I forgot to do this previously when setting up my template. I wanted to add a stage that was something about designing some campaign creative for them. I'm going to quickly enter in a title for my new stage. I'm going to call this Campaign Creative. This is going to be at an earlier step in the project. So I'm going to drag this stage up here. And then what I'm going to do, you'll notice that there's no tasks in this stage. I could, of course, build these out manually if I wanted to, but that takes just a little bit too long. And I want to have AI do it for me. At Motion.io, our entire team, we are big on using AI for stuff like this, just because it allows us to work so much faster. So let me show you how to use this. And I have a prompt that I've created already. So I'm going to go into this new campaign creative stage that I have just spun up. And I'm going to click this wand here directly to the right of the add task button. And you'll see it says right here, build out your stage tasks using AI. So I'm going to click the symbol there. And I'm going to add some additional details. This is a prompt I created earlier, but I just want to make it clear to the AI that this is going to be 4 tasks. So I'm going to say, create me 4 tasks total. 2. First task is going to be for our team to design the campaign creative for the client. Second task, the client to provide feedback on that creative. Third, for the team to implement the feedback and changes that the client suggests. And then a final task for the client to approve those final versions with their feedback implemented. So I'll click generate. I'm just going to give this a couple seconds to think. Sometimes it does, depending on how complex. Oh, but that was actually super duper quick. This created all of the tasks. And perfect. What you will see here is our AI with that very simple, straightforward description of the task that I wanted to create. Our AI went and created all of the various tasks. In this first task for the client to provide the campaign brief, it even created a form for the client to complete and attach that to the task directly. And I didn't have to set up any of this. All I had to do was enter that initial prompt. It also created a task right below that for the client to upload their branding files. So the client can now easily do this in the task. And finally, the two final tasks in the stage, we have just a placeholder here for the client to give feedback on the creative concepts. This is just a placeholder that the AI puts in if you do have it generate a feedback style or a proofing tasks for you. It will just have a placeholder here, but our team can easily go back and upload the files that we want this specific client to review. And then the AI also spun up this team task for us to draft the initial concepts for the clients after they've provided us all of these various things. So super slick, really helps you save a ton of time and makes it so easy to edit projects and templates on the fly. All you have to do, as kind of a final recap here, just go into any of your stages and click this little wand, enter your details, click generate, and our AI will take care of designing your stage, creating the tasks for you. That said, you can use this or you can edit any of the tasks the AI creates. You're not like locked in to sticking with the tasks and just going with them as is, you can adjust them. And you can also, if there are stages where you've already built out some tasks, this doesn't prevent you from using the AI task builder. It won't delete, it won't touch any of the tasks you've set up already. It'll just create new ones for you within a specific stage. So I'm really excited for this feature. It's something I have used, honestly, like since we released on Wednesday, probably have used it 5 times already. If you haven't tried it out yet, I would definitely encourage you to do so, even if that means just creating a new sort of example template, playing around, getting to learn the feature and the types of information that you could enter. In general, when you're prompting this, it can be helpful to be just a little bit more specific about, hey, this is how many tasks I want you to create, and then specifying whether that should be a client or a team task. You don't always have to do that. Sometimes the AI will just nail it on the first go. But I have found if you specify that whether or not it's a task for your team to complete or a task for the client to complete, that can be pretty helpful there. So if you have any questions about that, please write in. Happy to show you a couple more examples, different ways you can use it. But for now, just because we have so much to get through here today, this is such a big release, let's go ahead and move on to our next update that's kind of related to this, but that is the ability to rename the uncategorized stage in Motion.io. And I want to show you this because if you are set up and running in Motion.io, you might not even know what this stage is or does. But essentially, if you create a new project, so I'm going to create just a template here from scratch, and I'm going to call this example template. And I'm going to create a task, and you'll see I have no stages in here, nothing. It's a brand new template created from scratch, totally fresh. So just quickly create a task. I'm not going to spend too much time on this, but I'll call it example task. So what would happen before is if you create a task in a project, you would get this uncategorized stage. And it was kind of, it caused a little bit of friction just because the way that you would have to remove this uncategorized stage is create a new stage and then drag your existing tasks into it. What you can do now is if you're creating a task and you don't want it to be in the stage called uncategorized, you can simply just rename this stage now without having to create a brand new stage. So it's a very minor thing on the surface, but was something that we found was kind of confusing to especially new users who were getting up and running. They're like, why do I have this uncategorized stage? I want to rename this. I want to move it elsewhere when just learning the platform. So we've made a change there to make sure that that doesn't happen. And it's really easy, really flexible to basically just rename that stage, and you're not sort of locked into it. So next up on our list here, we have a really highly requested feature from our users, and that is custom signing order for contracts. Out of anything in this list, I would say that this one is probably the request we had the most out of this release and the new features that we've built in. Just because depending on your business, you might have a different way that you sign contracts, dealing with counter signing and the number of assignees. And this custom signing order now gives you complete flexibility to define who exactly signs when on a contract. And I see Tanya writes in, yay. I believe that's in regards to custom signing order. But yeah, Tanya, we're super stoked to have this now and excited to show you how it works here in just 2 seconds. So with custom signing order, let me pop back into my Motion.io account. If you are newer to the platform, the way that you access your contracts and contract templates in Motion.io, you can always create a contract on the fly by going into a task. But typically where I create contracts the most, I found that for most people, they're using reusable contract templates where there's not a lot of like customizations happening from client to client outside of things like their name or the client specific details. This is going to apply, though, the custom signing order. It will apply to both contract templates and single-use contracts. So to give you the full lay of the land here, I'm going to just create a new contract template from scratch. And I have one saved to my desktop that I'm going to upload here. And it works very similar to something like a DocuSign where you upload your contract and then you can map the fields. So I'll give this contract a name, and then I'm going to click Edit Fields here. Just to run through this very quickly, I am going to add a date field here. I'll add a text field for the client's name, a text field for the client's address. And I'm going to give this a label quick. And one thing that I think is helpful to show you here, because I find that I do this in almost every single contract I create, is that you can map custom fields from your Motion.io projects to auto-populate in your contracts. And I have a couple of custom fields that I can include. I've created this primary contact name field. So instead of the client entering their name in this contract, I can actually auto-populate it because I've set up a custom field called primary contact name, which I can use to populate this. And that's actually the same for the client address. So I'll grab my client business address custom field. I'll paste it into the API ID here. So a really nice way to just make it super simple for your client to complete contracts. They don't have to worry about entering this. They just have to date things and then sign them. Now, finally, down here at the bottom, I have a couple of additional things that I need to do. So that is going to include adding a text field for our team, adding a text field for the client signee name, adding a text field for the client business address, and then the signature. Whoops. And I just wanted to walk through this in detail of like the process of building a contract, just in case there's anybody new in the audience watching and kind of exploring Motion.io for the first time. But you'll see just how simple it is. I mean, I've built this contract, it's been 3 minutes now, I think, that I've been showing you this, and I almost have this all the way built out. One thing to note when you are building your contracts and mapping the fields is it's going to default when you first add your fields to this client field. But I want a different member of my team to sign this contract and countersign it as well. So what I'm going to do for these business fields here, which includes the Gusto Growth signee name, the Gusto Growth signature, and the date signed, is I'm going to create what we call a new placeholder. And this placeholder, I'm just going to call team, create that, change this other placeholder to team as well. This is one that I created earlier. There we go. Okay, so this contract is all the way set up. And another reason why I wanted to show you the process of creating a new template from scratch is that in Motion.io, because I added this team placeholder, this is now going to appear when I go to set the signing order. If I had two placeholders in addition to the client placeholder, that would appear in the signee order as well. So in essence, the number of placeholders you have here are the number of people you'll be able to configure the signing order for your contract once it's all the way set up. So I'm going to go ahead and save this. And then the way that I set the signing order, now that all of the fields are mapped here, is I can go into the contract. click Enable Signing Order, and I can move these around. So by default, it's going to set the client as the first one to sign a contract. But if I wanted my team to sign first, I can do so just by dragging them to the top of the list. It goes from top to bottom. So the highest person on the list is going to be the one who signs first. And I'll pause there for any questions. I see that we have a question that came in from Black Panther Creative. And that is, hey, Sam, yes, this would help. I believe you're talking about the calendar view in projects, individual projects. Let me know if I have that wrong, or maybe you're referring to something with contracts, but I think that's what you're talking about there. And thanks for tuning in. Thanks for commenting. Any questions about the signing order and the way that works? Oh, amazing. Yeah. Hey there. Yeah, it was Shikai, I was showing your YouTube name there, so I didn't quite know who it was at first, but thanks for clarifying, and thanks for writing in and joining us here on this Friday. It's a fun one. So any questions about signing order, please write in, let me know. Happy to circle back around. But in essence, helpful to point out once again that the way that you edit the signing order is you can go into any one of your existing contract templates, click signing order here. And if you click enable signing order, you'll be able to drag these things around. And this will apply once you add this to your projects, to your templates. You can reorder this however you might like. So really cool feature there. Something we're very excited to have now in the platform. And if you can believe it, we actually still have a couple of more things included in this release that I will be showing you here today. Really cool stuff. So let's go ahead and get right into it here. The next feature I want to talk about is the ability to share project progress tracker updates by copying the project progress tracker from a specific project with all of the tasks, all of the stages, and the current status of it, and be able to share it very easily, whether that's with external third parties, whether it's internally with other team members. This is something that can come in, that can be really beneficial if you're trying to update someone, especially if they aren't in Motion.io already and they can't just go in and look at the status of that project. So the way that you do this, and I'll give you some examples of how this works, is all I'll have to do is go into a project here. And this is only going to work really in projects because templates, all of the tasks are set as drafts. It's just templates. But let's say I wanted to share the status of this Larry's Laundry project. And I want to take everything that's happened, everything that's gone on in the project, and just give a brief update, maybe to a team member or a contractor that I'm working with. Up at the top here, I can go into the tasks page and click this copy as text button. And what you'll see as I go down the list is it's going to list off every single task in this project along with the stages. So this project is progressing really nicely. As you can see in the onboarding stage, all of the tasks are completed. Same thing for the website design stage. And we have most of the tasks completed in the website launch stage. So copying this is as simple as clicking copy text to clipboard. And then if I wanted to, now that I've copied this, I am able to send this. Maybe I want to send it to a Slack channel. Maybe I want to send it to a specific team member via email. But I can do so very easily by just going into a project and clicking copy as text right next to this progress tracker. While I'm here, I think it's also helpful to point out that the project progress tracker in Motion.io just got a really nice facelift. And now, if a stage has yet to be completed, what you're able to do is hover over these lines here within the stage to see each and every individual task and the status of those tasks. For completed stages, We hide these bars here just because that's taken care of already. Probably not as helpful. And if you want to see what tasks were completed, you can always just go and expand the stage. But now at a glance within the project progress tracker, you can very quickly see what tasks are left in a stage to be able to move forward to the next stage. So nice little update there. That was released a couple of weeks ago, but thought it was worth pointing out here. And now we are getting to the bottom of our list here today of what is included in this latest release. This feature is kind of a hybrid because it is a combination of Motion.io and other platforms. This is an update that we have made to Zapier. And we have a new Zapier trigger that allows you to take the request client submit and use that as a trigger to do other things in other platforms. And Lauren, thanks for writing in. Great to hear you love it. It's some really cool things that we've done there with the progress tracker, really putting that nice level of polish on it. And I think that our development team, which includes my CTO, Zach, as well as my colleague, Josh, have just really crushed it with some of the updates there, and happy to have them live now. So back to talking about this Zapier trigger for client requests. To give you a quick recap of the client request functionality in Motion.io, I think would be just really helpful in order to get a sense of what you can do with this new Zapier trigger. So let's go ahead and dive into one of my project templates here. I'm going to hop into this marketing services template. And when I go to the portal tab, and whoops, I created a bunch of random pages here that I just want to delete quick to clean this up. Did not notice that beforehand. This is what happens when I do things live sometimes. Didn't know that I had created accidentally all of these new pages. So let me just go and pop in. I have a different template here that I can show you. Okay, so I have this marketing services template, and I just have two default pages here. I have the welcome page and the tasks page. These are pages that whenever I create a new project from this template, the client is going to be able to access. But I want to add an additional page, or two additional pages. I want to add one page for the client to submit work requests after the project wraps up. So for example, if they want me to design a new landing page or write some additional copy for them, they can submit a request at any time. My team can do that. So I'm going to add a page here. I'm going to call this work requests. Scroll down to this form embed section. And I've already set up a form for this, so I'm just going to search for it. And then I can add any tasks that are created from this form. I can add it to a stage in my project if I wanted to. I'm just going to leave these work requests as uncategorized for now, but later I can go back and add a stage for these to automatically be placed in. And then I'll click Enable Form here. Another thing to note too about editing portal pages, a couple weeks back, we did add the ability to our global template updates feature. If you edit a portal page, you'll now be prompted to apply those updates to any other projects previously created from a template. And I'll show you that again here with this help desk tab that I'll add, which I will select my help desk form for. Whoops, where did that go? Oh, I called it something different. There we go. There's my support form. I'm going to click enable on this. I'm also going to choose an icon for that here. And what I was just talking about, so when I click save here, you'll see that I get this prompt. Would you like to apply this change to all active projects created from this template? If I click review changes, you'll see that I don't have any projects created from this, but if I did, they would display here. And I could click apply changes. And then this new tab that I created for the help desk, this would get populated across all projects I previously created from this template. To very quickly show you what this is going to look like on the client's end, I saved this. This is good to go. Let me just go ahead and create a new project from this. Just call this live stream example. And I will pop in to the users tab, just very quickly add a client. Copy their magic link, and I'm going to pull this up in a separate browser tab so you all get an idea of what these forms look like when you embed them in your client portals. So what you can see here is that in the work requests, is that in addition to the two default tabs, welcome and tasks, Jenny Jacob in her portal here now has a form that she can submit to request additional work, as well as a form where she can submit help desk tickets if she wanted. Anytime one of these forms are submitted, it will create a task in the corresponding project. So for example, if she fills out this help desk form, it'll create a task in this live stream example project. And that task is going to be automatically assigned to whoever the project owner is. You can, of course, reassign those tasks created from this form if you would like, but by default, it is going to go to the project owner. They'll get notified to complete it, and the client will also see that this task is being worked on. So I can even just submit a test here to show you. And you'll see that that test task I submitted now available for the client to access. So now that you have an idea of how this works, and I will just go back to that here. It looks like you might not have been able to see the last screen that I had gone to. So let me just pop back into motion.io. Recopy this magic link, and then just to show you what this is going to look like. Yeah, apologies for that. I didn't know that when I switched tabs like that, it would stop sharing suddenly. But here's what I was talking about earlier is have the work request and help desk tabs here in this project. And cool, I think we're good to go now here. So yes, I have these two tabs that I've created, one for work requests, one for the help desk. Client submits one of these will go to the associated project. So just to show you this really quickly, for my work request form, I'll say this client, Jenny Jacobs, is going to select the add creative design service. Please create me 3 new image ads. I won't attach a file to this, but I could if I wanted to. Once the client submits this, they'll be able to view that task, making it clear that we are working on this, and all of the details are populated automatically. So let's say, though, that instead of just creating a task, you wanted to create an entire project when one of these forms were submitted. What this new Zapier trigger allows you to do is use the form that client submits to trigger anything else you might want to use in a Zapier workflow. So to show you an example of this, I'm going to pop into my own Zapier account, and ahead of this webinar today, ahead of this live stream, I created an example workflow. And I'm just going to show you what this looks like here. So as my trigger event, the way that I've set this up, I'm going to go into the editor here so I can show you how I have configured this. After selecting the form submission, trigger event, I can then select which form I want to trigger this workflow. So I've used the work request form here. This Zapier workflow includes 2 additional steps after it's triggered. One, to invite the client to a new project we create. And I can even use the details from that work request form to do this. So for example, and let me just fire off a new test here to be able to remap this. See, I have a request here from Jordan Jacobs. Selected the create project Zapier action, and I can create a new project here. Can use a project name. I can map this to the client email from that form submission as well. I'll just search email. For the client name, I can also use this from the form submission. Jordan Jacob there, immediately assign them all tasks. And I can also map this to custom fields if I wanted to. But this is really cool because essentially what will happen is the client submits this form in their existing portal. We create a new project using the information that they provided from one of our templates. And finally, I have a notification set up to tell my team about that new work directly in Slack. So really powerful stuff here. Really great for just streamlining your workflow and creating a hands-off automated process from beginning to end. And there's, this is just one example of ways that you might use this. Another way that you could consider using a similar or using this trigger in a similar way is, let's say instead of creating a new project, you actually wanted to update an external, project management tool. So for example, if I wanted to, I could have a trigger of that form being submitted, and then I could actually create a task in a third-party tool, for example, ClickUp that you see here every time this form was submitted. So really great also for just sending things elsewhere in regards to client requests. If you were still using a third-party support software, that's another option here. So for example, if I had changed this to my support form, I could maybe even update a third-party support desk software, for example, like Help Scout here. And I could create a new ticket, a new conversation in there. So I know that is more of kind of a power user feature. That is why I wanted to save it for last. But any questions about that? Does this sound like something you could use? If so, I would love to know, or love to get any questions you might have about, hey, Sam, do you think I could use what you just showed for XYZ purpose? Happy to dive into any of that. So last on our list, while technically not a new feature included in this release, and awesome to hear that you love the Zapier integration. Thanks for writing in. Hope you get to using it. If you do have any questions, don't hesitate to email us. Happy to provide any suggestions or assistance you might need. So the last thing I want to show you here today, well, technically not a new feature in this release, is something that I just created a knowledge base guide for. And I'm going to plug that into the chat here because I was talking to a customer on LinkedIn and then another customer in just going back and forth via email this week. And one of the things that we were talking about is the ability to very simply send messages to a Slack channel when something happened in Motion.io. So turns out there is a super duper easy way to do this by using Motion.io's automations. And you don't actually even have to use Zapier for this. And Lauren, wonderful to hear that that was helpful, that little sort of tutorial I gave on Zapier, because yeah, I mean, it's the same thing here. I'm also always looking for automations to sync updates across tools. So this is a really good example. And there's a couple of additional YouTube videos we have, as well as knowledge-based guides that talk a lot more about this too, for different things that you can do using Zapier. With that, I have this knowledge-based article. I just plugged this into the chat. And what it allows you to do, what this guide provides setup instructions for, is giving you the ability to send Slack notifications with Motion.io automations. So this doesn't require Zapier. This can all be done with just a Slack channel as well as a Motion.io automation. So the way that you set this up, just to quickly show you here, is you are going to go in Slack. If you open a specific channel, you can go to this channel details section, and Slack actually provides an email address which you can copy and paste into a Motion.io automation. So I'm not going to do this live here, but I did just want to call it out, especially because we have a full guide up about it. But you can use Motion.io's send email action and then paste that email that Slack provides into the action to automatically send a message when virtually any type of update happens in Motion.io. So, for example, you could trigger a notification, a message to Slack when a specific task was completed or activated, or even archived, when a specific project stage was completed or activated or archived, even when a form block is submitted a specific way. So for example, if you have a form that asks clients what service they want, maybe you need to update a specific person on your team. You could use this trigger, or you could set your trigger up so that if a form block marketing services equaled, let's just say something like graphic design. So if they answered a form block as graphic design, you could then use the send email action to update a specific Slack channel. And all you have to do to make that possible is just copy the email from your Slack channel. And this is the guide makes this really, really easy, and then paste it into your Motion.io automation action. And so that does it for everything included in this week's update, as well as a couple pretty cool bonus things that I showed off here in this live stream today. With that, any final questions, please write in, let me know. I can hang out for a couple more minutes if you do have additional questions. But it was great seeing so many returning faces and also some new folks that I don't think I've seen on one of these live streams before. I love doing these things, and I will keep doing them as long as you all keep showing up. So thank you so much for tuning in, writing in with your questions. We do these live streams every single Friday, 10:30 a.m. Mountain Time. And you can find all the information that you need to attend at motion.io/events. We go live on YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram every single week. Look forward to having you at the next one. With that, thank you so much, everybody. Hope you have a great rest of your Friday and a great weekend. Take care and see you next week. Bye-bye.